Hello, and thank you for watching my video. Today we're going to be talking about builds, and particularly another build in PvP, and this is the first one I'm doing that's actually after the Heart of Thorns release, and so it's going to be focusing on an elite specialization, and in particular this is the Dragonhunter. Now the Dragonhunter I'm starting off with because this has been one of the most popular popular builds and popular sort of classes that people are playing right now. And the primary reason is for the amount of damage that you can do as a Dragonhunter. There is some flexibility to the build, so the way I'm telling you, you can change it how you actually want. And I'll start off by saying the weapons that we actually use. I actually use Scepter Focus because primarily I like having the ability to immobilize, and the Smite actually does a lot of damage, and having Shield of Wrath is a very important blocking skill. And I run Mace Torch, again primarily to get another block in and to have the Symbol of Faith and to actually do a bit of burning damage as well, just to add that little bit of flavor. However, you can go with the longbow. Now I personally am not a big longbow fan. I haven't really enjoyed playing it on the Dragonhunter, but there are many opportunities to play the longbow here. Now, one of the main things that you get with the Dragonhunter is the traps, and this is where you can do a lot of damage. Now, if we compare it to another trapping build that I did on my channel, which was looking at the Ranger traps, the Ranger traps actually focused on conditions. This is actually power, and this does damage. So let's actually have a look at the traps we have. We have the healing trap, and we have the elite trap, but the utility skills, the one trap we do not take, as you see here, we actually have Light's Judgment, Test of Faith, and Procession of Blades. But the one trap that we don't take is Fragments of Faith, and that's because all it does is gives Aegis a boon on sort of the stability, but it doesn't do too much damage. It does 857, but you compare that to the Procession of Blades, which does a hell of a lot more. So let's talk about what the whole point is of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in on this target heavy golem and show you just 3 traps. There we go. Ooh, look at that go. Look at that. All of that going on there. Look at the stacks of vulnerability. I'm not even bothering to attack it. I just wanted to show you, you've got here, this is what's been ticking over. So that is from 3 traps, and we can finish him off with, we'll use Scepter, there we go. So that was just 3 traps, and one of the big things is that the Guardian traps are able to really take down a player because it really stops an opponent from actually escaping, and that's one of the big things. If, for example, you put them on a point, or just before a point, and the enemy don't realise this, and let's take this example here, you can see the Chieftain, and boom, he's getting cleaved down, and we're going to just finish him off. We'll do a bit more burning damage, we'll come in to just finish him off with the mace, we'll try and burn him a little bit, but again, you've got the block in, and I haven't even used the healing trap. You can use the healing trap, and there we go. To be honest, I'm not really bothering to do much. I just wanted to show you. Oh, there we finish him off. There you go. So there we go. Now, one of the things I actually changed slightly was the fact that the rune I'm running is actually superior rune of the Dragonhunter. I decided to go with Marauder Amulet instead of Berserker because I was running Zerker. However, it is a little bit too squishy. You want that extra health that you get. Difference being, Berserker, you lose pretty much 6k approximately health between Berserker and Marauder, and that's the benefit you get. But let's look at the rune. The rune of the Dragonhunter gives us ferocity and power, and you apply 5 stacks of might for 8 seconds when you place a trap. Just to compare again, so what we're going to do, I want you to keep an eye on the boon that I actually have on me. So again, we'll put down the traps. There you go. There's 20 stacks of might, 25 stacks of might that we're actually doing damage. So there you go. That's it. That's because I put down the extra trap down, and that's how quickly you can take down an enemy golem. So this is a really powerful spike build that you actually can develop. Again, if we actually have a look at the runes, I have Sigil of Force on both of them. I have Sigil of Fire to do a flame blast on my Scepter, and with my torch, because it's burning, I increase the burning duration by 20%. Again, these are all very flexible. You can change some of the things around. If you run longbow, you can change some of the different things that you actually run, different sigils. But the amulet, you definitely want to take a power amulet, and you definitely want to take superior rune of the Dragonhunter. Let's go into traits. I run Virtue, Zeal, and Dragonhunter. With the Virtues, we actually get deal more damage under the effects of Aegis. we gain retaliation when you activate a virtue. Activating Virtue of Resolve removes conditions from nearby allies, and the passive heal is stronger. I actually want that just for that little bit of more sustainability. You can go with a Virtue of Justice to actually increase burning, but I prefer not to. I like that a little bit more of sustainability. Nearby allies gain Virtue of Resolve's passive effect, so this is where you're actually helping out your allies. Now you can again go for Permeating Wrath, because you're actually burning. But I just prefer that extra bit of support play with this build. Now we go into Zeal. We actually create a symbol of Wraith when we're struck below 50% health. And what that means is we actually create this symbol of Wrath, which gives us retaliation. So again, when you get low health, you're putting down a symbol and you're able to resist a little, or to actually inflict a bit more damage on your opponent. It just gives retaliation when it ends. Nice little thing we had there. If you are going for more of the burning trait, you can take Fiery Wrath instead, because obviously you gain that extra 7% damage. I decided not to take Zealous Scepter because I actually want this retaliation. Again, it is your choice. You have that flexibility in this build. You can take Zealous Scepter instead, because while wielding a scepter, you gain might when your Justice passive effect triggers. In this case, it's the Spear of Justice. However, on this build, I use F1 quite a lot. So let's talk about what else we have. We have condition damage based on your power. Now, we're a pretty heavy power build, so we're going to get a lot of condition damage, and that's why the flame and actual burning can be quite good. We don't have a greatsword, and although we do immobilize or blind foes, we inflict vulnerability. It isn't really too much vuln. We put a lot more vuln out with some of our other traps here, like Judgment. The Elite, we actually have more damage to enemies standing in our symbols. Now, I mentioned earlier that we actually have a trait here that when we get knocked down below 50%, we actually create this symbol. That means that we're going to do a 10% more damage to enemies in our symbol. And also we have Symbol of Faith here with the mace. So that's what we actually get here. And the other trait line we actually have is Dragonhunter. Now we actually have all the traits that we have here. We definitely need to take this one. This is Trap Stays enemies, and this is a crucial factor. So at every trap, you're going to daze them for a second. Really, really crucial. We actually get also deal extra damage to crippled enemies. Justice's passive effect cripples enemies, which is this here. The cripple you have, we actually have one trap that does that, Test of Faith, and that is actually going to really inflict a lot of extra damage, which is why this Test of Faith trap is so important. Deal bonus damage based on your distance to enemies. So this is where you actually gain increased damage further away. This is where the longbow actually comes in pretty substantial. And then we have remove conditions while blocking. Now this is why I've chosen this effect, because having the Shield of Wrath, every time I have that up, I'm actually going to receive less damage by removing conditions. Now you can go for longbow, and if you take the longbow, you can take heavy light. There is the option as well, Big Game Hunter. Striking an enemy tethered by your Spear of Justice causes vulnerability and increases damage by 10%. But I tend to quickly use this. And let me explain how. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the importance of using your F1 skill. So we put our traps down here, out of range of the chieftain here. I'll even put down the healing trap. So what we'll do, we'll press F1. You can see it's in range, and we'll press F1. There we go, and we're tethered to him, so he's throwing his spear out. And what we're going to do, we're going to pull him. There we go, and bam, he's in the trap now. He's trying to get out, but he can't, and he's really struggling. Look at that. He's really taking a lot of damage. And the F1 skill is a big pull, and we can show that in further use, actually, on a Night Golem. So let's show you how far they can actually pull. You can see here, we're just not in range. Now we're in range. Okay, so there we go. F1 and pull. We're not quite in range to pull it. I think that was a little bit slow. But let's try that again. One of the other skills you can actually use, you've got your F3 skill, which is, again, coincidentally, quite good at reflecting damage, or actually preventing damage from you against Dragon Hunters. By pressing F3, you create this shield that you can actually sort of move around and direct it, and this will block a lot of incoming projectiles. Let's do F1 again. So we do F1, and there we go. You've got this pull here, and you can pull him. So there you go. He pulls the Golem right to you, and you can inflict lots of damage if he's avoiding your traps. So if you've got your traps here, you put your traps down, Say you're on Legacy of the Foe Fire on the center point, and you've got this guy who's kiting around. Say another Dragonhunter, and he's got his traps there, and you're like, okay, I want to get him over here. Oh, well, this is where the F1 skill comes in. You pull him there. Oh yeah, actually has a recharge of 34 seconds for the pull, but you can actually get him over here. I also will say one of the best ways is to close distance. To actually, for example, if the enemy is not moving towards your traps, you can actually come in and close the distance. So you can do the F2 skill, and boom, there we go, and put your traps down like that, and there you go. Easy peasy. The F2 skill is a really great way to get and close gaps by having a very, very large leap. So the F2 skill, really very useful. The F1 skill, really useful, and the F3 skill is really useful. And this is something that I really didn't appreciate when I was covering the Dragonhunter in the beta weekends and talking about some of the unique aspects of the Dragonhunter and how it can actually play. In PvP, it's actually very important, useful indeed. So again, let's actually put our traps down, and we're going to target the heavy golem, and we're going to press our F1 skill. You can see he's tethered, and then we're going to press F1 again. Boom, he's into the traps, and there you go. Look at that. Just like that. That's him down in less than 2 seconds. You want to see the combat log? Let's actually have a look. You can see the amount of damage there. We're doing 8,000 using Test of Faith. I mean, that is... Look at this, the amount of damage that we're actually doing here. Incredible. So this build is very popular right now. You see a lot of people running Dragonhunter trappers, because one of the things that you will see in a PvP match is Dragonhunters can leave a point, put down a hell of a lot of traps, and suddenly someone walks along, no idea that there's traps here, and boom, they get trapped. And that is it, the game over for them. You know, they'll be downed, and that is with you nowhere near them. So the traps are very powerful indeed. So you can take a different healing skill if you want. I prefer having that extra days as well. One of the downsides is, as a Guardian, you really struggle to heal. I'll give you an example. On the Stronghold map, I was actually... the enemy managed to make it through to our Lords. We managed to defeat them, but then our Lord was at like 5% health. We really struggled to heal our Lord, because the healing trap does very little initial heal. And the F2 skill actually does a little bit substantial more healing. Because if you look at the heal here, we get an initial heal of 2,000, and we have to wait for the trap to be triggered before we get that second heal. The F2 skill actually gives us a healing of almost 4,000. So there you go, guys. This is my PvP build for Dragonhunter. This is actually the actual profession that I'm running, and the actual build I'm running more in PvP right now than anything else. It's a very easy build to play. So if you're new to PvP, I would advise trying to get in with this build, because it's pretty useful. Again, there is flexibility. You can change some of the sigils, some of the traits, and some of the weapons. There is that flexibility on this particular build. Please let me know if you've got any suggestions, if you feel that you run Dragonhunter a little bit differently, what are the benefits of the way you run it. Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.